Welcome to another episode of the I'm F.I.N.E podcast, where a couple of knuckle-dragging veterans unpack the world of mental health as unprofessionally and informally as possible. I'm Eric Peterson.
And I'm Brad Stozic.
And today's episode is about listening to your gut. We're going to talk about the relationship between the food you eat and the way you feel. We're going to discuss the gut-brain axis, the relationship between gut microbiomes and mental health, how your diet can affect your mental health, and some good old meals ready to eat. And we may even just pop one open for a snack. So sit back, relax, as we do our best to take you from being freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional to truly being fine about listening to your gut.
Welcome to the I'm F.I.N.E podcast with your freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional hosts, Eric Peterson and Brad Stozic.
Feeling good.
Feeling good.
172nd best mental health podcast in Cambodia. We're feeling pretty good right now because, we were talking about this earlier, as a Chicago sports fan, right now, your mental health is strictly reliant upon the success of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's scary.
It is. I was rooting for the Sox to lose, just as it's the wrong way, but hey, they're breaking records. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy. 21 game losing streak?
21 game.
They fucked it up last night because they won.
They did win.
They fucked it all up.
2 games away from the all-time record.
Really?
Yep.
It's always next year, man. And that's the tagline for most Chicago sports. It's there's always next year.
Oh, yeah.
And as a Bears fan, every year we do this, and I get so mad when I hear other people. I'm like, shut the fuck up. When people are like, listen, man, we got a quarterback, right? I'm like, shut up. We've said this so many times.
So many times.
Let's just wait. Let's see how it goes. You know what I'm saying? We are honored. We do some stuff with an organization called Operation Warrior Wishes. Shout out to Craig over at Operation Warrior Wishes, and he hooks us up with tickets to stuff. All veterans can request that a veteran receives tickets to stuff, or you can nominate. Anybody can nominate a veteran to get tickets if they go to Operation Warrior Wishes. And we get to go to Bears Camp tomorrow. That's super cool.
Yep.
Very thankful for that. I've had a lot of things that I've been thankful for. And I'd like to start, if that's possible, by giving a little bit of gratitude. And so one thing is, if you're unfamiliar, we have a closed Facebook group on Facebook. We have our public page, Project Headspace and Timing, and then we also have our Fat Family page, which is just where we just say dumb shit and memes and just talk shit and sometimes talk about what we're doing as an organization. And one of our guys, Dave McCleary, love Dave. He always talks about things that he's grateful for, and he'll post up there sometimes randomly, like, today I'm grateful for this. And I'm like, man. And he's been doing that again the past few days. And I've been trying to get in the habit of doing that. And I like telling myself things that I'm grateful for. And so I just kind of thought I would share a couple things on the podcast that I'm pretty grateful for. First off, I'm always grateful to do this fucking podcast with you.
Yes.
Always. Secondly, I got to go to D.C. last week to tell Congress to allow veterans to do ecstasy. It's a fucking weird world, my friend. It's been a ride. Okay? I was honored to go to Washington, D.C. last week for 3 days. And I got thanks to an organization called Balanced Veterans Network. They reached out to me. They're a phenomenal organization. If you remember, way back when we were recording with Jake, we actually interviewed the CEO or the executive director at the time, Jen Baxter. She's no longer with the organization, but still keeping tabs on her, and she's still doing wonderful. But we got to know BVN a little bit and the cool stuff that they do. So I was asked to go to Congress to see if we can urge members from both the Senate and the House, mostly the Senate, to sign a letter that would then be going, from what I understood, to the FDA to reschedule MDMA so that the VA can be allowed to start clinical trials and testing on its effectiveness in treating PTSD. Interesting thing is that there have been some studies done, and the studies that have been done do say that, with pretty crazy results, like over 70% of the veterans that went through one of these studies had reported that their PTSD symptoms were gone.
It's awesome.
With 1 8-hour MDMA session plus like cognitive behavioral therapy and some other things like that, like one and done. So crazy. So it's science that's worth understanding. It's science that's worth delving into a little bit more. And so it really kind of felt like I was really thankful because I really got to feel like I was a little bit a part of history in a way.
Yeah.
Because this is a beautiful thing. We got a lot of signatures. We'll see what happens. It's going to go in front of the FDA later this month. But if we can, and we're able to change the narrative on a drug that was once thought to only be a party drug, but it turns out that we can actually use it for medicinal purposes. And the veteran community, who is usually at the tip of the spear when it comes to anything mental health and like trauma, like
and experimental.
We are great guinea pigs, my friend. I love it because if it works for the veteran community, that means we can expand it out.
Yeah.
That means we can do it on anybody. The veteran community is one of the most diverse communities there is. So to be able to be a part of this hopeful change, and to see where that goes and how that can possibly benefit a countless number of just people struggling with PTSD, veterans and civilians alike. It's a beautiful thing that I'm like so very thankful for. It's such a weird experience. Like I said to one of the other dudes from BVN when I was there, I was like, if you would have told my high school teachers that if I kept doing drugs, I was going to go to Washington, D.C. It was just fucking surreal.
That's crazy.
Super thankful for that. Next thing I want to just say, last thing I want to say I'm super thankful for. So the CEO of Cigna, Cigna Healthcare, the Cigna Group, David Cordani, he made a post on his LinkedIn today, and he tagged Project Headspace and Timing.
Yeah.
And he made a post, and he talked about how one of our employees, the only other employee besides myself, Gabby, used to work for, well, she still does work for Cigna, but she's worked for Cigna for some time, but she found a grant that she could apply for before she had anything to do with FAT. Her and I met each other working at Best Buy like 20 years ago, which is it hurts me in the heart to be like, I was working 20 years ago? Yeah. I thought I was 12. So first job I met her, she's been following our organization. She applied for this grant through Cigna. Because of that, it qualified us for a substantial amount of money. And it also allowed us to have Gabby work for us full time for 3 months. She did an incredible job. She loved it. She stayed on part-time ever since. And because of the work that Gabby did with us and with Cigna, it was crazy. I was so thankful to watch the CEO of a fucking Fortune 500 company, giving a shout out to FAT, to Gabby, rightfully so. And the pictures that he posted, one of them was me and the giant rubber duck.
Nice.
And I'm like, again, dude, what a world. What a ride it's been.
Drugs and rubber ducks, man.
So thankful. so very thankful for that. So
that's awesome.
Those are some things I'm very thankful and just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
I'm also thankful that on today's episode, what we wanted to talk about. So I asked you about this because we did another episode when we were back at Jake's studio with Emily Lavoie, who is a phenomenal, she's a eating coach.
Yeah.
I believe.
Food psychologist.
And food psychologist. I was trying to remember. I want to make sure I get the titles right. I don't want to be disrespectful. She was awesome.
No, she was.
Very, very informative. And when she came on episodes ago, we talked all about our relationship with food, right? So definitely check that episode out. But what we didn't talk about was the insane amount, like the insane effect that the food we eat has on our brains. Like it really does. It seems like while some of the science is still out and they're trying to figure out more ways to prove the specifics of everything. And it's very important to always say that correlation does not imply causation. So there's still a lot of studies that need to be done, but it's like, it's getting pretty like, it's what we eat is really fucking important.
Yeah.
And how it affects our body is very important. So I wanted to talk about the relationship between the food that we eat and how it makes us feel. And I found it to be way more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But a lot more facts, a lot of really cool stuff. Because it's like, do you feel nauseous ever?
Yeah.
And
I don't know if it's like nausea but dude, it's like if I just say the word acid or like anything acidic or good, like heartburn.
Yeah.
Like right out the gate, dude.
You think about how you can think about something and somehow it elicits a response from your body.
Yeah.
Right. And I know I feel like a dumbass when I say that, but it's just like, it's impressive to me that you can think about, like what I think about is if you used to drink or if you still do, whatever. I think about Jägermeister. Like I feel it. Like I don't want it. Like dude. That Rumpelmann's. No mas. No, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. No thank you.
Oh my God, Rumpelmann's.
You think about those things. It's alcoholic toothpaste.
Yeah.
But if you mix it with hot chocolate,
no,
not bad.
I drank Rumpelmann's and found God, dude. It was horrible.
And he was a vengeful guy. He was like First Testament guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing is, it's like you can think about something, and it makes you it makes you feel something in your gut, like you feel sick, you feel whatever. On the other side of that, you had that feeling where you feel like there's butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous, but it's in a beautiful way. You're talking to a loved one or experiencing a new thing, and you feel this thing like in your stomach. Like I for sure also felt that. And then also, I am a very staunch believer in trusting your gut. And that's saying, trust your gut. I've always believed, especially when it comes to myself, just looking at myself, like when I'm dealing with situations, I feel like I know the morally right answer is. I feel that in my gut. My gut's telling me you should do this or you definitely shouldn't do this. And one thing that I think is super harmful is not listening to that response.
Yep.
Like your body, something in you that we don't fully understand. It's trying to help you make a decision right now. Like maybe we should listen to that and then see how those decisions pan out. And maybe we need to learn how to adjust stuff about us, whatever. But I've always found that was super interesting too. Like I do believe that. And as I grow older, I've realized that the more I listen to my gut, like my gut is correct. Like I'm trusting somebody, not trusting somebody. Like usually that's what I have a gut type of response on. It's like a serious type of interaction that I'm having in my mind. Like, do I want to do this? Do I want a career change? Do I want to do this big life-changing thing? Like if you listen to your gut, there's something there. There's something there that we don't understand yet. So found a lot of really cool stuff. Really happy to get to talk about it. Before we get into it though, Brad.
Yes.
What are the sources for this episode?
Yes, sir. They are health.harvard.edu, news.llu.edu, The Mind Gut Connection by Emerin Mayer, inews.co.uk, the National Library of Medicine, northernpaincenter.com.au, the Cleveland Clinic, the Medical News Today, WebMD, and NPR.
Look at us. Look at all those.
It's a lot.
Look at all those. For the WebMD source, we just looked up what happens if you're nauseous and you got cancer.
Yeah, I was just going to say cancer, and then you're probably going to die.
But at least you know that, at least the stuff that we're saying, we're not just making up.
Nope.
So to start this one off, we have to talk about the gut-brain axis, okay? Because this is kind of what a lot of this other stuff is built around now. This is very important. The gut-brain connection is a bidirectional system of communication between your digestive system and your brain. That communication is done through your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve conveys sensory information about the conditions inside your gut from your enteric nervous system to your brain. So the enteric nervous system, by the way, your gut, some scientists call your gut your second brain. And part of why they do that is because it has its own fucking nervous system. Like it's its own separate little thing. And that's what the enteric nervous system is. And now with that system, the vagus nerve, again, it communicates information from the gut to the brain using neurotransmitters. Some examples of neurotransmitters that we've talked about before are serotonin and glutamate. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about serotonin in a second. This communication system also uses gut hormones, and all of these things play a vital role in sleep, mood, pain, stress, and hunger. Now, serotonin. So I brought up serotonin. I want to talk about it a little bit more. So we've talked about serotonin on this one, on this podcast a couple of times before. It's your body's natural feel-good chemical. It's a neurotransmitter that also acts as a hormone and plays a key role in such body functions as mood, sleep, digestion, nausea, wound healing, bone health, blood clotting, and sexual desire. So essentially, fucking makes you Wolverine, bro.
Yeah.
Wound healing, bone health, blood clotting, sexual desire, Wolverine. So serotonin does some pretty cool shit. As a neurotransmitter, serotonin carries messages between the nerve cells in your brain, your central nervous system, and takes them throughout your body, which is your peripheral nervous system. These chemical messages tell your body how to work, how to do anything. Scratch your head, pat your nose or belly. I don't remember how it goes. Like if you
rub your belly, pat your head.
Rub your belly, pat your head.
Yeah.
Thanks serotonin for all that. It's the chemical messages. These are the chemical messages that they tell your body how to work. Serotonin also helps with influencing how you learn, your memory skills, happiness, and it helps regulate body temperature, sleep, sexual behavior, and hunger. So that's serotonin. So it does a lot of things in your body, and it's a part of a lot of some of the best stuff that life has to offer, right? What are some of the side effects of having low serotonin, Brad?
Yes. Depression and other mood problems, anxiety, sleep problems, digestive problems, suicidal behavior, obsessive compulsive disorder, PTSD, panic disorders, schizophrenia, and other types of phobias.
It's all pretty terrible shit.
I would agree.
All bad stuff.
Yep.
So low serotonin, bad. High serotonin, great. So scientists still have a lot to learn about the role of serotonin in the body and in disease, but it's important to understand why any of this matters and why we're even talking about serotonin right now. So most of the serotonin in your body, like when you think about serotonin, and when we talked about this episode before, let me back up. I didn't know this until I studied for this episode, but where do you think the serotonin in your body is stored?
Where is it stored?
Where would you think like serotonin in your body is produced? It's a neurotransmitter. It acts like a hormone. It's a super important chemical.
Well, I want to say your brain, but
you would say your brain, right?
Is it like your baby toe on your left foot?
Fucking 90% of the serotonin in your body is found in the cells lining your gastrointestinal tract.
No
so like
shit.
Your intestines. Yeah, that's where like all that shit is. So I just talked about all these reasons why serotonin is super important. You think it's produced in your head. Like 10% of it is produced in your brain. 90% of it is produced in your guts. Super important. Like that's again, when we're understanding what the relationship is between mental health and gut health. If 90% of the serotonin, the feel-good chemicals related is like in the cells in your GI tract, it's got to be fucking important, related, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
You
I don't
think
know.
so.
I know I'm a dum-dum, but I'm just like reading this stuff. So I thought that was super interesting.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just developed
You
like
would
in your brain.
I assumed everything came out of your brain. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
especially when you
alligators
say,
are
like-
ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush. Has nothing to do with the Abdullah oblongata.
Well,
You know what I
dude,
mean?
when you say like neurotransmitters and like this and that, you think like instantly think of brain.
It's in your brain. Like, yeah, you that's what you would think. But no, man, it's in your guts.
In
Like
your
all that
guts.
shit, 90% of it, 90 to 95% is in your guts. So serotonin is made from the essential amino acid tryptophan. An essential amino acid means it cannot be made by your body. It has to be obtained by the foods you eat. Okay, so again, relationship between gut health and mental health. Tryptophan is what we need to make serotonin, which is a feel-good chemical, and fucking 90% of it is in our guts. What you eat is important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really important with your overall mental health. And I did not include this study in here, so it's not cited, and I apologize. But one of the other things that I'd read was another fairly recent study about how like the increase in mental health issues, diagnosed mental health issues, which could be for a billion different reasons. But when you also look at, in my opinion, a poor quality of food, like with processed foods being way cheaper, all these other terrible foods that happen to be way cheaper than healthy foods. Like, again, correlation doesn't imply causation, but it's fucking interesting. I'm wondering if we're going to find something out about that later on in life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And tryptophan we'll talk about a little bit more later. So just remember, tryptophan, essential amino acid, it cannot be made in your body, has to be obtained from the foods you eat, and that's what helps you make the feel-good chemical serotonin, 90% of which is in your fucking stomach. Intestines. One other thing I wanted to talk about and kind of debunk is the hungry judge effect. So I heard this on NPR forever ago, and you were not familiar with this.
I was not.
Right? Okay.
Nope.
So this was a study that was done in 2011 with 8 Israeli judges. And what they did was they just, I'm going to get the details incorrect here. I apologize, but essentially they studied these judges over the course of days, whatever, and they found that the probability of a favorable decision in as far as their verdict drops from about 65% to almost 0% from the first ruling to the last ruling with each session. And at a rate of favorable rulings returns to 65% in a session following a food break. So what they were saying is they're coming in feeling great in the morning, and then as it gets closer to lunch, you get hungrier, and then as it gets closer to lunch, they start handing out more guilty verdicts than acquittals. That's what this study said. It was pretty interesting. They call it the hungry judge effect. You can look this one up. But I did find new research in 2023. In this one, they looked at the relationship between judges from Pakistan and India and their decisions to acquit or convict around Ramadan. Ramadan, if you're unfamiliar, is a month that the Muslim religion dedicates to prayer, fasting, and all that stuff. And that study actually showed the opposite, that hungry judges were more likely to acquit as opposed to convict when they were hungry. So jury's still out, literally and figuratively, on that one. You know what I mean? I don't know. If you look up the hungry judge effect, you'll find stuff for and stuff against. But it's super interesting, and it doesn't make you think like we're human beings.
Yeah.
We are not infallible. So it's just like, okay, yeah, if I'm hungry, I'm probably going to be a little bit more of a dick. I'm not saying that these guys can't be professional. These people cannot be professional. But at the end of the day, we're human beings. Yeah. We make mistakes.
So do you think the Ramadan study was because it was a time of like religious practice? So do you think that has effect on it too?
I'm sure it's absolutely a part.
Yeah.
I think it's the entire environment is a part. So that's why I'm just like, it's an interesting study. It's interesting to look into. And I just want to make sure you understood the stuff for and against it. Because like I said, I'm not smart enough to know. But nevertheless, it's a pretty cool thing that talks about how the relationship between just our hunger alone and what we're doing, how that's related, and the decisions that we make, and how those are related.
Well, that kind of ties into like when kids go to school without eating breakfast, and that they've done studies where their test scores are lower than kids who do eat a breakfast every day.
Well, you need energy.
Well, yeah,
you need good energy, and that's what food is.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like some food is. Some food is.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, the next thing I wanted to talk about is the gut microbiome and how that's related to your mental health, because we're going to talk about that a little bit too. So what is your gut microbiome? If you've been listening to like Joe Rogan or any of those other podcasts, especially any health podcasts, it seems like the past couple of years, they always talk about your gut microbiome and things about your gut. And I didn't really understand what it was. But your gut microbiome is a microscopic world within the world of your body. There are trillions of microorganisms that live there, and they affect each other and their environment in various ways. I'm talking about bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites, all that kind of stuff. They also appear to influence many aspects of your overall health, both within your digestive system and outside of it. When I think of like your gut microbiome, I think about, because I just watched Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And like, spoiler alert, there's a hollow earth, if you didn't already know. And that's how I think about like what my gut microbiome is. It's like the hollow earth. It's like the earth inside the earth.
Jesus.
Because it's like trillions of microorganisms. Trillions.
Yeah.
Can your brain quantify that? Mine fucking can't. I can't think of a trillion anything. I don't know what that would look like.
Bro, I was a Marine. I can't quantify anything higher than 10 toes and 10 fingers. Come on.
Trillion, big number. Trillion means many things.
Lots of fingers and toes.
I'm going to need at least 3 people. At least 3 Marines to count to a trillion on fingers and toes.
Yes.
Dude, how do you, so it's just,
no, I don't.
It's hard for me to even understand what the fuck trillions of microorganisms even looks like. That's all living in your guts, helping you make all the decisions that you're making. Your gut microbiome is unique to you. Infants inherit their first gut microbes during either vaginal delivery or breastfeeding. And then later, your diet and other environmental exposures introduce new microbes to your biome. Some of these exposures can also harm and diminish your gut microbiome. Most of the microorganisms in our guts have a symbiotic relationship with us. Because we're their hosts, this means that we both benefit from that relationship. We provide them with food and shelter. They give us services, important services for our bodies. These helpful microbes also help to keep potentially harmful ones in check. You can think of your gut microbiome as a really diverse like garden that you rely on for nutritional foods and medicine. When your garden is healthy and thriving, you thrive too. But if the soil is polluted or weeds are overrunning the garden, it could destroy the entire ecosystem. So it's very important. Your gut contains, here's another thing I didn't know. For some reason, this was another thing that I thought was in my brain that apparently is not. Your gut contains 80% of your body's immune cells. And the microbes within it help train your immune system to tell the good microbes from the bad microbes. So like 80% of the cells that help you with immunity, that help your immune system, are in your gut. They're in your gut.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I guess it's like traveling all over the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That and you're exposing a lot of foreign substances into your body through your gut.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're, never mind. But
say it. It's 2024.
Well, I was gonna say, unless you're like shooting up like heroin or something. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But like most of your ingestion and stuff is through your gut. So you would think that most of your
those microbiomes are going to be fast as shit. Super fast.
Actually, and I want to go back to something you said about like when you get the microbiomes through when you're born.
Yeah.
Those are actually, if you like if you have higher chances of cystic fibrosis.
What do you mean?
Like the microbiomes that you ingest on your way out.
Yeah.
That's the ones that like fight cystic fibrosis. Which
if you do not get those, then you have a higher likelihood.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of stuff that like it's again another thing that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Is how a woman's body just makes a baby and keeps it alive. Like that's insane. Yeah. And again, there's no better way to feel worthless as a man to witness your partner, your wife's part, whatever, have a baby.
Never again.
You will never feel more worthless in your life.
No, God, no.
But like, yeah. So it's it's amazing how much of what the mother eats affects the baby.
Yeah.
Including establishing what their gut microbiome is, which is literally going to be a part of their mental health at some point. Crazy. I also like the idea that like the immune cells are in your gut, like trying to tell the good microbes from the bad microbes. Like what's a bad microbe? Like wearing a black leather jacket, hair slicked back, glasses on inside, but not blind.
Dang it. You know those like glasses that have the fake nose and the fake mustache? Like a microbe just wearing that. Like, I'm not bad.
Hey, wait a minute. That guy doesn't belong in here. he's not a good microbe. So yeah, it's very important, and it's pretty impressive. So your gut microbes are in prime position to influence your emotions by generating and modulating signals that the gut sends back to the brain. Researchers continue to investigate how your gut microbiome might be involved in various neurological, behavioral, nerve pain, and mood disorders. There was a study published in June of this year in Nature Mental Health. And again, June. That was fucking a month and a half ago. Like these studies are happening now. This is new type of stuff that we're learning, which is awesome. That study finds that distinct biological signatures in the microbiomes of people who are highly resilient in the face of stressful events. So they're finding that there's some similarities in those gut microbiomes of people that can deal with super stressful stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. In recent years, other observational studies have strengthened the evidence linking gut microbiomes and mental health in humans, although there are still many unanswered questions because this research is finding correlations, right? Not necessarily the causations. We're just seeing all these things that could prove something. And for example, large studies from scientists in the Netherlands and elsewhere have found microbiomes with less diversity of bacteria can be a predictive of depression. So again, correlations, but it'll be and these studies are happening now.
Yeah.
Recent. So it's interesting to see what more we're going to learn in the oncoming years, you know.
Do microbiomes change? Like, do they, or is it like,
I believe so.
So do you think people, because you said when people who are susceptible, like, can handle stress easier?
Yeah.
Do you think people in the military have better gut health because, like, we're put under...
Because of Rippets. Because of fucking Rippet energy drinks. That's why.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the only... That is what fueled the war. That MRE.
Yeah, that's
MREs fair. And Marlboro Red
or
cigarettes.
Grizzly, Wintergreen.
Yeah, Marlboros. I was a smoker. I couldn't do the dips.
No, I was a dipping guy. But
yeah, I mean, I think like everybody was either a smoker or dipping. Yeah. But yes, so to answer your question, if I understood what I read correctly, yes, your microbiome can change based on your environments, the things that you put in your body, how that affects all those different cells and things in your body. Like it can definitely change. And well, yeah, and that's why like if you're eating processed foods and terrible shit, like you don't feel good. Like nobody feels good eating a whole container of Oreos and like a sugar-free Red Bull and like half a case of Busch lattes. And then you're like, you know what, guys? I'm going to go run a marathon. Like I feel great about my life. I want to make a lot of decisions about where my life is headed because I just ate a whole pack of fucking Oreos and a sugar-free Red Bull. Like you feel like fucking shit. Like, you know what I mean? If you
not during though.
Not during. But afterwards.
Yeah, after. Yeah.
You feel it in your gut. You're just like the lethargic, just bleh. You don't want to do anything. When you eat bad food, I feel that. Yeah. I know that I feel that too. You know what I mean? So scientists say that the complexity of the microbiome calls for a different approach than what's typically used in the pharmaceutical development, which tends to focus on finding a single molecule or drug. It would be like trying to grow a forest in a desert by planting a few seeds. It wouldn't work because there is no supporting ecosystem. That's why the gut microbiome is such a complex thing and why there's still so much studying and testing that needs to be done and still so much, a long way to go, but that's part of why. According to Thomas Bastianson, who is a bioinformatician, I don't know what that is, but he studies the gut microbiome and mental health at Amsterdam University Medical Center. And here's what he said. He said, according to him, the microbiome field is still coming out of its infancy stage. We've established a link in the microbiome gut-brain axis. We've got a really robust evidence. The next question we need to understand is how exactly it all works. And that's true. It's because like you're seeing these things, you're seeing the correlation, but you have to figure out like how it works. So that's the stage that we're at. Yeah. So again, our kids are going to know so much more.
Oh yeah.
But it's really cool to like keep up with this stuff, I think.
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about gut microbiome, let's get into diet just a little bit. Talk about its impact on mental health. Here are some ways your diet can affect your mental health. So what we've been talking about this whole time, your gut health. Healthy foods promote the growth of good bacteria, which can positively affect the neurotransmitter production, serotonin, like we talked about. And then whereas junk food can cause inflammation that can hinder that same process. The next way your diet affects your mental health is with your blood sugar. So eating regularly can prevent your blood sugar from dropping, which can make you feel tired and bad-tempered. High glycemic foods like white bread cause a rapid release of glucose in your blood, which can lead to a dip in blood sugar and mood. In contrast, oats, grains, legumes, I just like saying legumes. I assume I'm pronouncing that right.
I have no idea.
I've never heard anybody be like, can I get some legumes? Like, I've never heard anybody say
well, you said that, and I think of like a tropical oasis, like a lagoon.
Oh, like a lagoon?
Oh, you're saying legume with an M?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you said lagoon. Are you? Yes, is it oats, pan?
Oats, grains, and tropical lagoons, tropical bodies of water.
How could that not help your health?
Release glucose more slowly. That's true. That's true. You know what? I'll give you that one.
I'm going to eat a bowl of oatmeal. Legumes.
Which is just the most dickish way to say nuts. You know what I mean? Like legumes. Get the fuck out of here. Like I said, I've never heard anybody order a legume before or ask me for legumes. And if I worked at a grocery store and somebody was like, can you tell me where legumes are? I'd be like, turn around. See that door you walked in? You walk right the fuck back out and find it in the parking lot.
Bro, you're in a fucking
I'm
Walmart.
not selling you legumes. All right? Anyway.
Oh, Jesus.
So yeah, be aware of that. Legumes. In contrast, oats, grains, legumes release glucose more slowly, which can help you maintain a steadier level of attentiveness. Dehydration can affect your mood, energy, and ability to concentrate. Fucking the one thing.
Yeah.
The first thing in like everybody that's ever been in the military. I don't care what's wrong with you. I don't care what's wrong with you. Drink water. Drink water.
Like emphasis on water.
Water.
Yeah.
Drink water. If you're dealing with a medical issue above the waist, take ibuprofen. Below the waist, take ibuprofen, change your socks. That'll get you through a majority of what you need to know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Medically wise, right?
Yeah. You're fine.
Yeah, pretty sure that's it. So yeah, dehydration, obviously incredibly fucking important. Do you have to force hydrate? They make you force hydrate?
Oh yeah, dude. Every single night we would hold a canteen and they would make you uncap it and then they'd be like, ready, hydrate, and then everyone would be like, to the core.
And we don't know why veterans keep becoming alcoholics. No idea.
No,
I had to force hydrate a canteen every fucking day.
Canteen, whiskey, whatever.
Cheering on with a bunch of my brothers. And just downing a whole canteen of water, and you had to do as fast as possible, and then hold that motherfucker out upside down, and a drop better not fall out, otherwise that's your ass.
Otherwise, you have to fill it again and do it again.
I have no idea why so many of us develop drinking problems. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is.
And then the other part of your diet that can have an impact on your mental health is caffeine. So caffeine is a stimulant that can give you a quick burst of energy, but it can also make you feel anxious and depressed and disturb your sleep. The effects of caffeine may be especially significant in young people. I experienced this on a severe level in that my caffeine intake had partially caused me to go to the hospital. Like I had to go to the hospital and I had to wear a heart monitor and I was having chest pain because I would take a pre-workout in the morning, go to the gym. My pre-workout, shout out to Stack Nutrition because I love Stack Nutrition. So I get all my anything workout wise. I bought from Stack Nutrition. It was called Super Bio Freak. Oh my God. That's what the pre-workout was called. Oh my God was abbreviated, OMG. And there was a cartoonish amount of caffeine in that. Like you would take it and you would see fucking dead presidents. Like you were like, I'm going to lift everything. So like I would take that and then I would go to Dunkin' and get my drink, which was 5 shots of espresso over ice with a splash of almond milk. Later in the day, go for an energy drink. And I'm wondering why my chest hurts. Like, dude, way too much caffeine. Yeah, caffeine, again, it's a drug like anything else. There are pros, there are cons. You need to understand it, respect it, be appropriate with that shit. I don't drink that much coffee anymore.
How did your heart not explode?
Dude, I got close. I had chest pain. I had to wear a heart monitor.
Jesus Christ.
And then my doctor would be like, how many cups of coffee do you have in a day? I'm like, well, technically, I get that 1 cup from Dunkin'. So what?
Oh, that's funny.
And, yeah. So caffeine, obviously, you got to make sure you're really appropriate with that.
Jesus, dude.
Bradley, what are some foods that can affect your mental health?
In negative ways? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Negative ways first.
Sorry. Yes.
Nope, you're good. Number 1, coffee.
Yay. Whoops.
Trans fats, processed foods, diet pop, energy drinks, candy, fruit juice, ketchup.
I don't understand why ketchup.
Probably because all like the high fructose corn syrup and stuff in it. And
there's
like,
got to be red dye in it.
Yeah.
I feel like all that red dye shit's terrible, right?
Yes. Toxic fish. So for those who don't know what toxic fish are, like me, that is imported catfish, puffer fish, stonefish, Atlantic bluefin tuna, lionfish, and orange roughy.
I thought a toxic fish was just a fish that just made you feel terrible about yourself.
Yeah.
Like gaslit you. Imported catfish.
You didn't catch me. Yeah, right.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, that shirt looks great on you. You're going to wear that? It's like, fuck you, imported catfish. What's your problem?
Right?
Yeah, terrible.
And then I think the only one I knew on that list was pufferfish.
Yeah.
I do know that in Japan, when they serve pufferfish, the chef has to eat the first bite because if they did it wrong, it'll kill you.
Yeah, dude, that is
hardcore. Yeah, I don't want that job.
I'd be like, you know what? I'll take the salmon. Like, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
That's fucking insane.
And then there's alcohol,
sure,
refined carbs, sugar substitutes, sugary drinks, and high sodium foods.
Okay. So yeah, makes you feel like an asshole if you're going to serve your imported catfish fish sticks with toxic ketchup and fruit juice to your kids. You know what I mean? It's like, what am I doing here?
Right?
Like, yeah, because we know that a lot of this stuff isn't great.
Yeah,
sugar substitutes, sugary drinks, high sodium foods. I cut pop out a super long time ago. If you're listening to this from outside of Illinois, it's called pop. It's not called soda
or Coke.
Never. It's always been pop. I don't really drink. I'll drink Sprite like once in a while. You know what I mean? But really, other than that, I don't really drink pop. And then I'll have one. Like, I'll just be like, you know what? I'm going to get a cherry Coke. And you drink it and it like burns your throat. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I used to drink this? Like,
yeah.
It's like, ugh. So yeah, like the sugary drinks, obviously.
I won't drink pop, but I'll drink 17 shots of espresso with a splash of almond milk.
It was 5. I also had to look up how many shots of espresso would it take to kill a person. And it was a lot.
6.
I don't remember what it was. I was like, well, I better be safe. And we'll just go with 5. I was going to go with 5.5. But yeah, all these things are understandable. That's going to hurt your mental health.
Yes.
What are some things that are going to help? What are specifically, you found some stuff about tryptophan. Talk about that first.
Yeah. So the tryptophan, like you mentioned earlier,
helps you build your serotonin. You use the tryptophan from the foods you eat to help build serotonin. Feel good chemical, super fucking important.
So these are a list of foods that specifically boost tryptophan.
Yep.
Salmon. Yep. Poultry. So chicken, turkey, goose. Eggs, spinach, seeds, milk, soy products, and nuts.
Yeah.
Or legumes.
Legumes. I'm sure there's a difference. I'm not going to know what it is because I don't care. If you like legumes, just go fuck yourself.
What if it's like a shellless nut?
Are we all just shellless nuts, Brad?
Yeah.
I didn't know where to go with that one.
That was good.
Thank you. So again, okay, eating these things helps your body obtain the essential amino acid tryptophan that is then used to build serotonin.
Yes.
Very complicated, complex process. I did look up that process and I was like, I'm too dumb to explain this. So we're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But so those foods, very, very important.
Yep.
What are some other things that'll be good for you?
Yeah. So these are good foods, not so high in tryptophan, but also good.
Yeah.
Whole grains, or just like whole foods, right? So whole grains, fruits, vegetables, meat, poultry, seafood, things of that nature.
Okay.
Fiber-rich foods, antioxidants, fatty acids like omega-3, basically fats found in oily fish.
Yep.
And foods high in folate.
You can't read it because it's not that you can't read it because you're blind. It's because you're a fucking Marine.
That's fair.
That's why.
Folate and magnesium.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Fatty acids, but not like those ones found in those imported fucking catfish. Again, like I read that,
Bastards.
I'm like you eat this catfish and you're like, this tastes like it's from Belgium. Like, you know what I mean? How would you know?
That's not Louisiana catfish.
Yeah. All these things. So all those foods are good for you. I feel like we know that. We know that a lot of these foods are good for you. We tend to get away from the red meats and look more at like chicken and fish and fiber-rich foods. Again, fiber-rich foods, fiber, super good for your gut. That's why they always tell you to have it. So like it makes sense. Fiber-rich foods, very important.
Leafy greens.
Leafy greens, always, yes, also very important too. So I want to talk about, what was your diet like in the military? Like now we'll talk about garrison.
Yeah.
And then we'll like deployment, because I was in the National Guard.
Yep.
And I was deployed a bunch with the State Department and DOD afterwards. So all of my experience with dieting was specifically mobbing, demobbing, or on deployment. I didn't have the garrison experience.
So for garrison, it was basically just like a chow hall. I ate at the chow hall because I worked there.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'll just. But dude, there was a main line that we cycled 21 days. So like every day, 21 days, we had the same menu. And then on the opposite side of the chow hall, there was like every day was a different specialty. So pasta bar, taco bar. We had Fridays was Fat Boy Friday, and it was just a bunch of fried food.
And again, where is this?
Oh, this was in Okinawa.
Okay, yeah, big base.
Yeah.
Big base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, depending on the bases you went to. So my first deployment to Afghanistan, I was at a small FOB. And a FOB is a forward operating base. So we didn't have, like we had a chow hall. Chow hall was fine, pretty small and nothing too crazy. But honestly, like the food wasn't bad. Like I never remember the food being bad. And then we didn't have any restaurants on our bases, but a lot of other places did. We had one local who sold like not groceries, but he had a haji shop where he just sell miscellaneous trinkets and stuff. Sure. And you could also order food from him, and it'd be local food. And I love local food, like naan bread. I can eat naan bread all day, bro. Like and all that stuff is very good. But that was kind of what, like when my being on base, it was easy to eat well because there was always healthy options available. And so whenever, at least at the chow halls I was at, like there was always healthy options there. Like you could always see there was chicken, broccoli, and rice over there.
Yeah.
And if you want to eat healthy food, there's chicken, broccoli, and rice. You don't got to cook it. You don't got to do anything. It's ready for you. Go get it, eat it. You're done. And I loved that because it just made it so much easier. Yeah. And then plus the pressure, especially in like the grunt world, if you're even sort of overweight and you go grab that cookie, you're going to hear a fat ass from like across the chow hall. Yep. And you're like, ugh, and then you know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's that pressure too.
Well, they even, at the chow hall that I worked at, they even broke it down even more for Marines because they're like, green you can eat, yellow not so much, red you should probably stay away from, right? So we had to label every single food item that we made had a card. It was either red, yellow, or green.
I don't know if you're fucking with me or not.
I am not fucking with you, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Because on the card, it would have like calories. It would have all the nutritional value.
Oh, right. I thought you meant it was for Marines. So this tub's like, these are forks. Don't eat these. Eat with them. They help your hands eat.
No, the food was. Yeah. That would make sense too, though. Yeah. Like, okay. Definitely red. Don't eat that.
I know what you're talking about. Because it's trying to tell you like you need more of this in your diet and less of this in your diet. If it's a fried food, it would be red. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, dude, especially when I was deployed, there was a point in time where our resupply, like our trucks were getting hit. And I swear there was like 2 weeks where I lived off of Girl Scout Thin Mints and like Rippets. Dude, because we didn't have, like, for whatever reason, I think we still had I can't remember. It was like obviously almost 20 years ago. But like we had breakfast, but like our lunch and dinner, we ended up going with MREs, which we're going to get into in a little bit, my friend.
Yay.
But you think about do you think your diet really enforced or did anything for your mental health or anything when you were in the military? Like, do you think there was any relationship there?
Dude, my mental health was such a shit show when I was in the military that I could have factored it. Sure, yeah.
Well, it makes you feel uniform because everybody's eating the same thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, yeah, you can go to depending on the size of your base, you can go to restaurants and stuff. They have that stuff. But really, like, whenever I ate on a military base, it was pretty much always fine. When in Afghanistan and Iraq, especially as a contractor, we would use local vendors way more, which coming from the military side, I was so like afraid and standoffish about. I was like, whoa, you're going out into the town and buying food?
Yeah.
But then it's like, yeah, people live here. Like, what do you think they do? Like, they have restaurants, they go out to get food. So like as a contractor, it was cool because I lived in a villa, just downtown area in Kabul when I was with the DOD. And dude, we would just walk down the street and go to a restaurant. I would go to the grocery store. There's this grocery store called Spinny's. I would go to Spinny's. I would pick up whatever groceries I wanted. I've eaten so many questionable meats from street vendors in Iraq and Afghanistan. Never got sick. Ever got sick.
Dude, were you always on high alert though? Like,
yes,
at all times?
For sure.
Did you maybe have good quality meat, but you didn't get to enjoy it because your butthole was puckered the whole time?
God. Very good. I mean, I'm sure that's very possible.
Yeah.
Because the thing of it is, okay, there were in what they call the Ring of Steel, which was in Kabul, downtown Kabul. There were like 3, I think, Lebanese restaurants. And this was 2014, 15, or 16, somewhere in there. And I used to go to one of the Lebanese restaurants. And it was like a weird, like you would go with your guides. There was one gate. They'd open the first gate. Then there's a second gate. Before you open the second gate, you have to turn in your weapons to the security guard. He would wave you in. And I think there was even a third gate. And then you would go into the restaurant. So it was like high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
High risk, medium reward. You're just going out to get food, really. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Shortly after that, a few suicide bombers went into one of the other Lebanese restaurants. First 2 were wearing vests. First one gets in, detonates, hits like the first gate or the first and the second gate. Second suicide bomber runs in, hits the next gate. And then the third one ran into the restaurant with an automatic, whatever the fuck he had, and killed some of the expats in there. So it was like, you understood. If you want to go, you can go. But this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
So just understand that. My buddy Phil, who was my driver, who was a driver in addition to everything else he did. It's also Force Recon Marine, big dude. When he was my driver and we were in the same vehicle, we went to a frozen yogurt place in downtown Kabul. Like, we were driving on mission. We looked over during mission, coming back from whatever we were doing. We saw, it was called Cherry's Berries. I remember it like it was yesterday in this dusty, sandy, like in the middle of downtown Kabul. And he was just like, yo, dude, that's a frozen yogurt place. And I was like, oh shit, it is a frozen yogurt place. And I go, do you want to go there later? And he goes, yep. So we get back from base, still wearing our gear. Finish the mission, everything's cool. We go back to Cherry's Berries, wearing full kit, sitting on these tall chairs, feet kicking like a little kid, eating fucking frozen yogurt, just happy as shit. Like,
oh, that's funny.
So, yeah, I mean, the only time I ever got sick overseas was on a military base. I'm not blaming Brad's people. I'm talking about cooks. Because they contracted that work out, so it wasn't military cooks.
That's fair.
But dude, it was on. I don't think it matters, but I'm going to name drop. It's Camp Phoenix in Kabul. It was on the east side of Kabul. I went there, and I've never been sicker in my life. Like, I don't know what I ate, but I had the worst debilitating pain, coupled with all of the most fun things that come with a flu. Right, just bleh, 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 just all of it.
Sure.
And that was on a military base. So despite all the questionable meats I've ever had, I never had a problem. But I think the military, in and of itself, is fueled again by Ripid energy drinks, cigarettes, and or dip.
Yep.
Fucking MREs. And the only other thing is like, maybe No Explode, because for some reason No Explode was always available on every military base. And No Explode, I don't know. It's like, it's got to be pretty close to meth, right? Like,
or cocaine. I just wanted to.
You would do a shot of no explode, and then you're just like you just got to go do something.
And the worst part was people didn't even mix it properly with it. They would just like scoop water.
It's fucking Marines. Marines would dry scoop it. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
They all the time. They would seriously just scoop.
Yeah.
Shot of water and like
insane.
Go work out for 17 and a half hours.
So if you were in the military, then you should hopefully know the beautiful gift that is the MRE. An MRE is a meal ready to eat. I have some, and you were so surprised.
I was.
Because I have my oh shit box with just like all my, if bad things happen, grab this box and get the fuck out. And I have all my MREs in there from when I was in the military. So I got out in 2011. It's 2024. Things are fucking
They're still
old.
good. They're still good.
So I wanted to educate what we're going to do.
Boy.
We have, so, God, if you're watching on YouTube, I am eating menu number 7. Meatloaf with gravy. If you're watching this is what MRE looks like. It's in a brown bag that can also be used as a sandbag. Brad, which one do you have over there?
I have menu 22, chicken and dumpling.
You're not blind. You're not really blind, Brad, are you? Son of a bitch.
Gotcha, guys.
Gotcha. 51 episodes just to lead up to this moment. Gotcha. So in these MREs, so I'm gonna.
Is it cool if I save mine for? I want my family to experience this.
Oh hell yeah! So I just opened this MRE and I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Okay, so and this is according to the Navy Marine Corps Public Health Center. So you know it's going to be some bullshit. When I read that,
I don't know.
Like,
sounds legit to me.
So MREs are designed to meet the nutritional needs and satisfy our deployed warfighters' food preferences. I don't like when they call us warfighters, but I also realize on MREs it says warfighter recommended, warfighter tested, warfighter approved. It's like, all right, it's like an Old Spice bath soap. It's like elk musk. And I'm like, all right, warfighter approved. I'm like, all right, dude, it's food. Like, whatever.
Is it though?
Good point. So it says the main goal, and this is according to their website, the main goal of the food technologists at the Combat Feeding Directorate, new group I fucking hate, by the way, tasked with developing and continuously improving MREs. Found got a little asterisk on that one, is to maximize warfighter performance by making sure you don't shit for days. That's how the rest of that sentence should go.
Yep.
New MREs are chosen based on 3 primary factors. First is warfighter feedback and acceptance.
Oh my God.
If an MRE doesn't get good feedback from service members, it gets cut. Bullshit. Then why does the cheese and veggie omelet MRE exist then?
That's so
Tell
true.
me why. Tell me in what fresh hell was someone like, yeah, cold, freeze-dried, whatever eggs? That sounds good. We should reheat those in a weird bag of plastic with some heater that's probably going to cause some other cancers later in life. Like, dude, I had enough MREs where still to this day, when people start talking about MREs, I like remember some of the things that were in which MREs. And again, the only redeeming quality of the cheese and veggie omelet MRE was it came with a Pop-Tart. It wasn't called a Pop-Tart. It was called whatever the fuck the military calls it. But like that was one of the only beneficial things. Other than that, I would like to joke about MREs, but a lot of them were pretty good.
They were. And you know what the worst part was, though? If I remember correctly, was that Pop-Tart even frosted? Or was it just like the...
No.
I didn't think so. No, I didn't think so. Like a stale cracker with like some kind of flavor in the middle.
Whatever gives you joy, we're going to take it away. Don't put frost. You're going to make them eat an unfrosted Pop-Tart. Yep. Like they were some young child in the Blitzkrieg. Just like fucking, they'll be thankful for it.
And also lessen the amount of flavoring so they get the cardboard cracker flavor the most.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that was the first factor that MREs are allegedly chosen by. The CFD also uses feedback from service members to develop concepts for new flavors and food items. The second factor is the nutritional content of those meals. All MREs need to meet nutritional standards for operational rations as determined by scientific evidence as set forth by the Surgeon General and Department of the Army. I thought Like, I swear, when you asked anybody how many calories are in an MRE, everybody was like, "There's like 9,000."
Yeah.
There's 8,000 calories, or what? It was like some huge number,
Sure.
right? 1,300 calories, not as many as I thought, right?
That's still a shit ton of calories
Still
for
a ton of
one.
calories.
Yeah.
But it's a meal.
Yeah, that's true.
So again, I opened up one MRE. In this MRE, I have a carbohydrate electrolyte beverage powder.
Gatorade.
Flavor, grape. Yes. It's like, it's Gatorade, but we can't call it Gatorade.
Yeah.
Got that.
Yep.
I got some crackers.
Nice.
Which you and me are going to share.
Ooh, that means there's some kind of spread.
Which means we got 2 kinds of spread.
Come on, jalapeno cheese.
One of them was open.
Oh, gross.
Probably not going to eat that one. That one was barbecue sauce. The other is apple jelly.
Oh, that was so good.
Chocolates, chocolate-covered coffee bean candy, and all I can say is that the shape of this is not in that of a bean. It's that of a squished bar. So that's interesting. I don't even remember seeing this before.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I think I'm going to take this and just get weird with it
Heck
and watch
yeah.
what happens. And then we have raspberry white chip cookie.
Oh, dude, that is the best.
I'll give it to you.
So good.
We're going to split this motherfucker open. I'm going to have you open this while I keep reading these facts about these fucking MREs. And then this is meatloaf with brown onion gravy. Comes in a brown box. And then mashed potatoes, also in brown box.
But the fun part about opening the brown box is it comes in a weird green bag.
Yeah. All super appetizing. And then you get this future lawsuit, which is this bag that you pour water in, and it gets so hot that it's going to heat up your food but not do any lasting damage to you, which I find a little skeptical.
Yes.
And then there's also a bag for the beverage, iced tea flavored drink, some gum, some toilet paper, matches, and a little towelette and some seasoning. So that's what comes in an MRE. It's like all that stuff. I have 12 of them. We were perusing through them before this episode.
Yeah.
Made you very excited.
It did.
So I'm gonna open up this cookie.
Dude.
Here you go. It's like 15 years old.
It's so
I'm gonna pass it to you. You got it?
Yep, thanks, man. So wait, I had to take the first bite or something?
Take a bite. I'm going to wait like an hour, and then I'm going to take a bite.
Okay, so it's still got a good crunch.
Still solid?
That's a good fucking cookie.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. No, you want another bite?
Mm-mm.
Are you sure? Why don't you want another bite, Brad?
Because I have my own.
Oh, that's right.
I don't want to eat yours.
Yeah, I do.
But dude, that's a fucking solid cookie.
MRE, this is like 15 years old. So this, at least. So each MRE provides approximately 1,300 calories, composed of approximately 170 grams of carbs, 45 grams of protein, 50 grams of fat. For the energy needed to accomplish any mission, this balance of nutrients is necessary to ensure all complex systems of the body are functioning properly. The third factor is shelf stability. Probably should have read this before I let Brad try some, but it's fine. The CFD tests MRE production items to ensure the nutritional content and sensory quality don't degrade too quickly. Sensory quality of food. It's kind of weird. And they want to make sure that these meals continue to meet performance-oriented nutrition needs of service members in the field. So the shelf life of an MRE at 80 degrees, if it's kept at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, because, that's where we're always in a hot place when we need MREs, is a whopping 3 years. So it's 3 years if it's at 80 degrees, 6 months at 6 months at 100 degrees. And based on the temperature of my basement, it's like 68, 70 degrees. So
yeah,
it's probably fine, bro.
Fine.
You didn't even eat the meat stuff. I'm going to try the meatloaf.
Oh, I'm going to try chicken and dumpling later. So, I mean,
it's going to be great. So that was in that article that we found. Now, what they didn't say, so like, for example, if you look at like spaghetti with meat sauce, that MRE, or beef ravioli, spaghetti with meat sauce has over 1,900 milligrams of sodium, beef ravioli over 2,400. Again, the point that you brought up was, I don't know, maybe they need us to retain water more, and that's why it's higher in salt, also to preserve it. I don't fucking know.
Yep.
But interesting when you take into consideration that like one Big Mac has like 900, just over 900 milligrams of sodium.
Now, I didn't look up, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No.
but is it just the spaghetti alone or the entire MRE, you think?
The entire MRE.
Entire MRE. Okay.
Yep.
See? Not bad, right?
Oh my God.
Dude, I know. I will say it has a funky aftertaste after a while, but after that, dude, I think it's fine.
It smells like I just signed my life away. And I have to go leave my family for like a year. That's what this smells like. Oh, man. Bringing me back. Love that sensory stuff.
Heck yeah.
So the next step, how to start improving your gut health. What can you do if you want to take some time and put some effort into it? A few things you can do. First one, obviously a balanced diet. Consume a diverse range of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and fermented foods to incorporate fiber and omega-3 fatty acids. Probiotics and prebiotics. Incorporate probiotic-rich foods like yogurt, pickles, kimchi, and prebiotic foods like garlic, onions, and bananas to nourish and promote the growth of beneficial gut bacteria. So prebiotic, probiotic. I love garlic and onions and everything.
I also love garlic and onions and everything.
Bananas, I'm like, whatever, they're fine. I hate kimchi. I just can never get into kimchi. I like pickles and yogurt. I mean, you know
together?
I mean? Yes.
Pickled yogurt?
Yes, pickle yogurt sandwich. Then you put a little kimchi in there. Then you go shit your braids out. It's wonderful for your gut health, Brad. You need to read a book.
Joke's on you. I can't read.
Man, love it. Got it in there. Some other things you can do: reduce stress. Chronic stress can disrupt the gut-brain axis. Engage in stress-reducing activities. Regular exercise to promote a healthy gut and healthy mental well-being. Limit antibiotic use. While antibiotics are crucial for treating bacterial infections, and I think this is important, and please do some research on the studies of using antibiotics long-term on kids.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are like broad cephalosporic antibiotics. And from what I've been told, when I was a medic, like it would just kill all the bacteria in your gut.
Yeah.
And we just talked about, you have literally trillions of microbes, a lot of them super fucking important, doing really good shit. We talked about all the immune cells that are in your gut, all of the serotonin, like all of that stuff. I mean, you get a broad cephalosporic antibiotic, it just kills all the bacteria. What does that do to your gut? If it does that to your gut, what does that do to your mental health? I don't know, but I'm sure we'll figure it out at some point in our lifetimes. So use antibiotics judiciously. Obviously, talk to your primary care, your treatment providers about that, and consider probiotic supplementation during and after any antibiotic treatment. What are some symptoms that should cause you to consult your healthcare worker? What are some things that would freak you out and you might need to get some more help, Brad?
Bloating.
Yep.
Abdominal pain. Constipation.
Yeah, buddy.
Diarrhea. Gas. Lactose or gluten intolerance. Fatigue. Acne. Mood disturbances like difficulty concentrating, anxiety, or depression.
Yeah. So
yeah,
if you're dealing with any of those things,
I need to go to a doctor.
Yep. My gut is not very happy.
No.
Some other tips for a healthy diet. There's a lot of apps out there. Noom, Weight Watchers, Do Fasting, Better Me. There's all sorts of things that you can download and check into that can help you hold yourself accountable and learn more about what it means to have a diet, be on a diet. Hire a nutritionalist. You can hire plenty of them. I mean, there's lots of them out there that can kind of help you figure out how your diet should be structured, what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating.
The VA has nutritionists.
Thank you. That was my next point. Perfect. Yep. So also, if you are a veteran utilizing VA healthcare, consult your primary care physician. You can ask for a referral to speak to a nutritionalist. Also, if it's the relationship that you might have with food, check out our other podcast episode with Emily Lavoie. Definitely reach out to her. She shed a light on a whole different side to a relationship with food that I thought was very interesting.
I agree.
So definitely check that out too. A lot of options out there. So in closing, let me wrap this up. So we talked about the gut-brain axis, gut biomes, how they relate to mental health, explored some nostalgia by digging into an MRE. We shared some tips on how you can get some help if you need it. But before we finish this episode, I have to open this. This is a gift from one of our listeners, Robin Senesac. This is the first, outside of my wife, which I also count because it meant very much to me.
Yeah.
That somebody gave us a gift specifically for the podcast.
Well, your wife's not my wife, and I really appreciated her gift that she gave me. That I wear this hat every day.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
She's given a few gifts,
yeah.
So it's good to have a supportive spouse.
Heck yeah,
very good. So this came from Robin Senesac, Avonhurst. So he got us something. It's in a little box. It's a present he got for the podcast. I'm assuming it's not going to be appropriate.
That's okay.
Those
are the best gifts.
It's heavy. Oh, no way. He gave us... Oh, my God. I like this. He gave us 2 challenge coins, one for you, one for me.
Yeah.
It is in the E4 rank shape. E4, which I've talked about before.
E4 Mafia.
E4 Mafia fucking runs shit. I am very thankful and honored to have been called the Godfather of the E4 Mafia, one of the best titles anyone else has ever given me. And on this challenge coin, it says E4 Mafia. And on the back, it says the 10 Shamanments. Because if you're unfamiliar, E4 is all about shamming. They call the E4 insignia the sham shield. That's how you get out of shit. You walk around with a clipboard, act like you know what you're doing. Like I was a sham professional. The 10 Shamanments. Again, this is from Robin Senesac. Such a beautiful fucking gift. I love this.
That's
this is
so
amazing.
awesome.
There's one for both of us. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you,
also
Robin.
to Robin's amazing wife, Chris, who also helps us out with all sorts of stuff, listens to the podcast, and shares this stuff. The 10 Shamanments. I'm going to close it out with this. Shamanment 1, thou shalt not volunteer. That's it. Yep. 2, always have an appointment. Oh, my God. Shamanment number 3. It's against my profile. Oh my God, this brings me back. Number 4, I already put my leave form in. Number 5, it wasn't in my counseling. Number 6, we know stuff. Number 7, I don't know. Number 8, it wasn't me. Number 9, find a private to do it. Number 10, avoid responsibility and accountability. The 10 Shamanments of the E4 Mafia on a challenge coin. Thanks to our friend, member of the Fab family, listener, Robin Senesac. Thank you so much, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
I
That's
love
awesome,
this.
man.
These are awesome. I love this so much. Thank you again for listening to this episode. We hope you got something from it. Please, if you have something that you want to add, feel free to share. Reach out to us at projectheadspaceandtiming.org, Facebook page, Project Headspace and Timing, or the I'm F.I.N.E podcast Facebook page. And until next time, we hope that we helped you go from being freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional to truly being fine about trusting your gut.